Hey, Billy from Perma Pastures Farm. We're going to talk about one of those uber helpful tools that maybe you've never heard about. It's called the edge effect. All right, the definition right off the bat is exactly the way it sounds. It's the edge effect. And the reason why this thing is so profound is that it's wherever you have two mediums collide, whether it's water and the shore, whether it's the air and a tree, it could be literally where this blueberry is and the edge of this mulch ring with the cardboard under it, where two mediums collide, you're going to see a whole lot of action in those places. Now, it can be used to your benefit, but it can also be used in a bad way. But it's a really cool observational tool that most people don't know about. Let's just kind of take a stroll over here. And as I'm doing it, you see where I'm kind of mulching all these trees as I'm going along. We got some over here. Really, this is something of an edge effect, okay? But here's one that nearly everybody has out there. If you can look on the outside of here, this is obviously the edge of my property, okay? Over here, you got all this silvergrass coming up on the outside of my property. Really, that's happening for a couple of reasons. Number one, as we turn this area more fungal dominant, this guy, as you can see right on the other side of here, which is an invasive grass, doesn't want to come over here because I'm creating conditions it doesn't like. But I'll tell you what, it really loves being where this fence breaks up to the medium of the ground from one side to the other. Now, on this side, we got regular grass that we just weed-eated a little while back. You're going to have to maintain that edge, especially if it's an area that you manage. Like in this food forest, as you can see, it basically stops right here. We got trees over here that are coming up that were planted, but this is really a later design feature. But as you can see, we left this area widely open to manage that edge effect. Think about this. There are times where you're going to have grow boxes, and let's say you got a high deer fence at your place. And because you want to get the maximum amount of vegetables out of there, you might have taken your box and put it all the way over here. Well, you know what you ran into? Where that box meets the soil, you got a lot of grass popping up out of there. Where that box is next to that fence, you got a lot of growth going up there. And if you didn't leave enough room for a weed eater to get down in there, you got a design problem. But if you're in one of those places right now, this giant homesteading tsunami, you can already design that in the front end and say, okay, Permaculture Pimp Daddy told me I'm going to have a massive growth problem here if I don't manage it. So you can design for it and use it to your advantage, just as we've done right here. You can see this ocean of strawberries over here, and then we got our regular grass. We got trees that are easily going to be managed. It's nothing to manage that within this area. And then over here, we have another area that's easily managed. So make absolutely sure you account for that. Let's talk about some other examples.
What's that? It's hot.
Now, what are most ponds? What are the shapes of most ponds that you see? Almost always they're round. I'm going to ask you why. Because the more edge I provide, and I'm going to kind of walk the edges here. This is an intermittent pond. It's meant to be something that captures water, basically the runoff off this road over here. It captures in here. This is one of the last stops before it leaves the property. Well, we got an edge over here. It comes around, comes up over here, and usually we've been a long time without rain, but usually this thing has rain. It's full most of the time. But the reason it isn't is because it's been a long time without rain out here. Now, what is the beauty about this? We could have just made a round pond, and then we took all that material, put it on top of that hugel mound over here. We'll talk about that in a minute. With all this edge that we've created, let's say I was in a position where I could only plant, let's say, 4 trees. Well, now I got that apple over there, got this fig over here that you can't see, another variety of fig there. We got a willow and a pear over here. I'm creating a ton more growing space for me or the wildlife, whichever one I want. And then I'm combining not only the edge effect with, okay, I got a body of water here. What does that do? Water has a high specific heat, meaning it takes a lot of energy to change the temperature of water. Do you think that might benefit the trees and all the other things I got around here? Because when everything else is dying back, when this thing is full, that edge effect combined with a high specific heat of water will keep this comfrey green longer. It'll keep this fig green longer. Same thing with all the other vegetation around here. So you can combine a lot of these natural phenomenon and make it work in your favor. Here's another little edge effect, and it's basically all the material that came out of that love pond is sitting right here on this hugel mound. And so let's say this is a microcosm of property out there. Let's say you bought 10 acres. Well, they're basically laying that out in a two-dimensional view, but you're on a three-dimensional surface. Think you might get a little more land that way if you know how to use it? Here's another beautiful example of using the edge effect. You can use it as a nutrient trap, okay? What am I getting at? The water's running down the hill, okay? It's coming over the side here. Right here, this hugel mound, I know it's hard for you to get a sense of scale or anything like that because you're not really seeing it three-dimensionally, but essentially, as it comes off, all those nutrients are being trapped right down here where I'm at, okay? So what does that mean? I got a whole lot of life and a lot of it's being collected right here. You think I could use that to my favor? Is it gonna be one of those areas? It's why everybody wants bottom land, okay? You can make bottom land in top land if you use swales. Another beautiful nutrient trap. We've used them in tons and tons of designs all over the place where we gather, let's say the poop from the animals gets caught down in the ditch, and now it's to the benefit of all those wonderful trees that are on your swale. We're using this hugel mound to a certain extent the exact same way. Another great example of edge effect and how you could be using it. It's fall, and you're looking at the edge effect every single day, but now you're gonna pay attention to it because we just talked about it. What do you see? I'm on a road surface, okay? That's a medium. Now, I'm in another medium standing here. Where do you see all the leaves gathering right now? I didn't put them there. Nature did. The good Lord put all this in place for us to take advantage of it. Right over here, you see all these leaves gathered up as a car drives by, pushes it off, gets caught in the next medium, which we're calling grass. You can see it gathered over there. You see it gathered over here. But look on those sides of the interstates, particularly those ditches, like the one I'm walking down in right now. Okay? Well, if you got trash, generally, the only thing I'm worried about finding out here is some crackhead leaving needles up and down this road. That might collect down in here too. So you don't want to be doing this one. You don't want to be grounding when you're doing this part. But look where all your trash gathers. It's down in ditches, okay? Yeah, so that could be a good thing and it could also be a bad thing. But also your leaves. Same leaves are eventually, as fall gets more into play, they're going to gather down in these ditches, making it easier for you to gather them up and put them in your compost pile. How about that? If edge effect was considered when this driveway was installed, well, really, first of all, this driveway would have been on a spur where it makes sense, but they put it where it is. But because things were not considered properly, because of this curve that you see right here, the water is basically gathering right here down in this little ditch. And what's happening? It's dragging all my material away. So I'm realizing that, what I need to do is find a way, and that's going to be something we got so many irons in the fire, it needs to get done. Basically, this side is about a foot lower than this side because it's on the inside curve. And what's happening is that when this water's coming down, it's going to go to the lowest point, which is right over here, and it's dragging all that material down to the Mississippi. So these are things that need to be mitigated. And yeah, there's things we got to do here as well. But knowing this phenomenon and how I can make it either work in my favor or not is something that I can use for the best or the worst, depending on how you design. Now, how would I do it differently? I know that I got water landing on this driving surface. Why not redirect the water into a swale, which I can capture, which is exactly what's going to happen up the hill here. Not now, but not long from now. We'll capture that water long before it ever builds up enough steam to drag all my stuff down the river. That's exactly how you can use edge effect in your favor. So it can be your best tool in the world if you're recognizing, because after this video, you got no excuses. You can say, I'm designing this place. How can I use that edge effect? Go out there, get a PDC. We've been telling everybody, go out there, get a PDC. We talked about it the other day. School of Permaculture has a very affordable option out there for those out there that have more time than money. There's a lot of us these days. So find out about that edge effect. Find out how you can make it work for the best on your property or to take all those trouble spots like the one I'm standing in right now and use it to your benefit. Hopefully this has been a blessing to you. You need Comfrey, world's best deer repellent bone sauce. It's not a panacea, but it's the best out there. Got a new batch out there online right now. So, till next time, this is Billy from Perma Pastures Farm, where permaculture is my passion, and it's knowing that edge effect that helps a great deal. We'll see y'all next time.